guys, welcome to this demo. I'm going to do a three-part series for this one just to break up it into a more bite-sized pieces. That way it perhaps will make it easier for you to take it apart. So the end goal is we're going to be dealing with a double exposure. So in this case, we're going to be using two things. So one is going to be placement, putting the figure in the center of a composition. And the second one is using a technique of surrealism, transformation, so turning this guy from a human into a mountain. So let's go ahead and get into this first part of the demo, which we're just going to kind of set things up the first step of the way. We're going to break it into three parts. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to expand the composition, make it a little bit bigger. So I'm going to hit my crop tool, and I can just pull this out. And I'm just lining it up so that middle section kind of sits more on like the back of the figure. I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and I also want to create some vertical space up above the composition. So I'll maybe do something like that. I could probably bring it down a little bit, and I'm going to widen it just a little bit there. Again, just eyeballing it, I'm making the composition a little bit more squarish, pulling it out to the right and then up to the top. I'll hit generate. If your computer's not able to do this, you can also just go to image and then to canvas size right there, and you can increase the canvas size both vertically and horizontally to create more space for your composition, and then select the negative space and use your generative fill to recreate it. Essentially, all that we really need to do is just fill in this guy's back just so that it doesn't look like the image cuts off. So there we go. Few different options. Choose the back that makes the most sense. That one doesn't look bad. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to flatten the image. So Shift Control Alt E, that's the longest keyboard shortcut. I'm going to select these two layers and delete them because I no longer need them. And then what I'm going to also do is I'm going to go to Image, Adjustment, and then I'm going to hit Desaturate, which is right here. Shift Control Alt U. Which is just going to make this image into a black and white image. To help myself out as well, I'm going to use my object selection tool and just hover over the figure, click on them. That's going to load a selection for the figure, and then I am going to create a new layer with that. So instead of creating a layer mask, I actually don't want the background, so I'm just going to do Control J. Which is going to throw that figure onto layer 2, and I can delete layer 1. So I'll just click that delete as well. Again, this is just like trying to work clean so that I have the least amount of layers and I know all the pieces that I'm working with. So I'm going to call this one figure. That'll be the layer that I'll refer to, so the layer with the figure. And let's go ahead and put a color behind him now. And so this is the first time we're going to use an adjustment layer. So right next to the layer mask icon on the bottom of the layers palette, there's an adjustment layer icon, which looks like a circle with a gray side and a white side. So I'll click on that, and I'm going to choose the one that's right on the top called solid color. So by clicking on that, I'm just going to fill it with white. And you can notice right now it's above my figure layer. So by clicking on the solid color fill layer, I can actually pull it below the figure layer. And then I'll just call this background color, so BG color. And we're going to eventually change this color, but that's going to be coming up a bit later. All right, so far so good. Again, we've desaturated our figure. We removed him from the background. We've also created an adjustment layer with a solid white. So we'll consider this part of the demo, part 1 of 3, done.